All right, let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously made one of, if not the biggest move of the offseason when they acquired Kirk Cousins. But like we alluded to last week, the Falcons clearly are not done addressing the quarterback position. It has taken another turn, this time involving the upcoming NFL draft. Let's get directly into this report, and then we'll talk about it more on the other side. This is courtesy of NBC Sports. The Falcons may have signed Kirk Cousins, but they are still in the market to draft a quarterback. Per Albert Breer of SI.com, Atlanta is sending a sizable group, including general manager Terry Fontenot and head coach Raheem Morris, to work out former Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr. on Friday. The private workout will be conducted in Seattle. The Falcons, of course, currently hold a number 8 pick in this year's draft. Of course, last week we were talking about the Falcons using a top 30 visit, one of the teams that Michael Penix Jr. was visiting with it. It is clearly going to a whole nother level. It's not just an in-person visit. They have now scheduled and will attend a private workout with the young quarterback out of Washington. I think we're seeing a lot of momentum behind Atlanta to potentially go after Michael Penix Jr. as the quarterback of the future, sitting behind Kirk Cousins. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, but first, Falcons fans, in the comment section below. Look, obviously there's a lot of attention to the quarterback position, especially the way the Falcons have been since Matt Ryan left. But if you look at the situation right now, do you want the Falcons to go quarterback with their first round pick? If not, what position group would you want them to go with their first round pick? Let us know in the comment section below. But Miles, give me your thoughts on this report and the chances it looks like the Falcons may be going after specifically Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah, Nick, I think this is a really smart move by the Falcons because we talked about it in our previous video that having Kirk Cousins on the roster allows the Falcons the flexibility to evaluate and look at guys that they don't have to rush. But we also said they can also start evaluating now. And if they feel like the guy is going to be in their lap, because I would be out on a limb here saying I don't think they're going to have the number 8 overall pick again with Kirk Cousins on this roster. I think they're going to be a much better team. So I think this is also a very good opportunity for them to get a quality quarterback early on, which there seems to be a lot of in this draft. And when you look at a guy like Michael Penix, he is a lot better than some people are talking about. You always talk about the top 4 quarterbacks in this class being some version of Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy, Drake May, or Jaden Daniels, somewhere around there. But if you look at the PFF grades from last season, only Jaden Daniels did better than Michael Penix Jr. on the PFF scale. Penix Jr. Grading out a 91.1 PFF grade last season. And then you go even further here. This is a guy in Michael Penix Jr. He was a part of the 4th best total offense last season and the 3rd best passing offense last season when you look at PFF grades for the teams as a whole. So this guy did a phenomenal job last year. And the only teams that are ahead of him are teams like Oregon, LSU, and Georgia, which had substantially more talent than a team like Washington did, I would say. Washington, very good. I think they were underrated as well. But I just think people need to look at the situation. Michael Penix is a very good player. And if the Falcons are seeing this so early on and going this heavily into working him out, spending a top 30 visit on him, I don't really think it's rushed. I think they maybe potentially think they've found a great opportunity for them to bring in a young guy, have him sit under Kirk Cousins for a minute and come out. And you look at what that did for a guy like Jordan Love with the Packers. Bring him in, have him under a great quarterback, which I think Kirk Cousins, he's not Aaron Rodgers, but he's a pretty good quarterback as far as being in different systems, knowing how to handle yourself as a professional at the NFL level. I think Penix Jr. can learn a lot from a guy like Kirk Cousins if he was to sit a year, maybe even 2 years underneath him. So I think this is a smart move by the Falcons because I think some people are kind of underrating just how good Michael Penix Jr. is in this draft class.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. I want to really highlight, I think you hit on something really, really important, is the fact now that the Falcons have acquired Kirk Cousins, they're not going to be a top 10 drafting team going forward. If you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who of course won the NFC South in 2023, they're picking 26 in the first round. That could be, and I think it's where the Falcons will be picking in the first round in the future, probably for the next couple of years, considering the talent on the team, the addition of the new head coach, and of course, Kirk Cousins. So this will very, very likely be the Falcons' far and away best opportunity to select a top 10, top 15, top 12 caliber quarterback. So I think people are kind of sleeping on the Falcons making a move here, but I think it would be a great decision by them if they think Michael Penix Jr. is the guy, because like you said, this will be their best chance to get one in a long time. But there's a lot to really like about Michael Penix Jr. I agree with you. He is getting slept on and underrated a little bit. I'm reminded of the scene in Moneyball, one of my favorite sports movies of all time. It's a baseball movie, but I think the analogy applies here. When all the scouts are sitting together to talk about a baseball player and say, oh, he's going to be a great hitter, he's got a great swing, the ball comes off the bat really well, things like that. And the GM is like, well, is he a good hitter? And he's like, no, he didn't hit very good in college. He had a low batting average, but we think he'll be good in the pros. The GM's like, that doesn't make sense. Like Michael Penix Jr., people are downgrading him because of physical attributes mainly, right? If you look at his actual production, look at how good he was, look at the offensive output that he had throughout his college career, it's redunculous. And if you look at the history of what quarterbacks do well, it's the quarterbacks who usually 9 times out of 10 put up a lot of numbers and were very productive in college. Patrick Mahomes, C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, right? The list goes on and on. Justin Herbert over at Oregon, right? Usually the best indicator of NFL success is doing well at the college level. For every Josh Allen that was just a physical freak, there's a Paxton Lynch and a Trey Lance and a Zach Wilson, right? Every once in a while, those physical freaks will work out, but give me the guy who was actually successful, won games, and put up a lot of yards and points in college, and that greatly increases your likelihood of success. I think the Falcons are about to make a massive move here at the quarterback position, picking up Michael Penix Jr. I think that they're going to love the workout because I really like Penix. I think he's going to be a great player, and I think Atlanta picking him up in this upcoming draft would be a fantastic move.